Hi there, and welcome to lesson 3 in Shape and Space 8.1. Today we're going to do a little bit of reviewing and then a couple questions on applying the Pythagorean theorem, which is what your assignment's going to be based on. Okay, so like I said, a little bit of review. So here's our triangle. We've got a squared plus b squared equals c squared as our formula. Okay, and then this next slide asks you which of these two triangles are right triangles. This takes us back to our Pythagorean triples because all three sides are given. And the hint is to use the formula and plug in the answers. Okay, I'm actually just going to pull these answers across, I hope, or not. There we go. Okay, so there's the triangle. Now, there's a few things I purposely use these slides because I don't like some things that are missing. So, as I said in the previous lessons, I want you to write out this a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That should be up top here. I would do that, but I can't switch back to my pen quickly. So make sure we have a squared plus b squared is c squared. Yeah, it won't work. All right, then I take my sides, 8 squared plus 8 squared equals 12 squared. And then I prove if the left side equals the right side. In this case, it does not. So that is not a right triangle or a Pythagorean triple. And here, same thing. Write that formula, please. Plug in the numbers. And this one is indeed a right triangle. Okay, just a little review. Okay, so this slide's asking us to find the missing lengths. So I just want you to follow along here. So we'll start with this triangle. Put the formula in, plug in the numbers. Okay, these are your sides, this is your hypotenuse, so the formula works perfectly. Okay, find out what your answers are here. And then we want to find out what c squared is, right? Okay, so this step here would actually be written as we've done it. We would go 64 plus 36 equals c squared. And then we'd go 100 equals c squared. So let's not do this to confuse matters. Let's carry on with what we've done normally. I actually chose this slide presentation because there's several things that how it can be done different, and I want us to stay consistent. So you'll see me doing this throughout this lesson. Okay, so now we're back to where we were. They're missing the most important, adding that in. All right, and then we get c equals 10, or we sometimes write it the other way, 10 equals c, same thing. We found our side, right? Okay, and this one over here, you're going to see the letter y, which hasn't probably shown up yet. These sides can be labeled with anything that, or any letter at all. So they chose y. We still know that 8 is our hypotenuse because it's across from the right triangle. So in our formula, this is our c. A and b can be interchangeable, so you can decide which is 5 and which is the y. Now, they put it in the formula. They decided that the y was going to be the b. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. They've got the 5 plugged in, the 8 plugged in. Okay, and they've gotten to this step here. Right? So don't forget that in order to get this 39, they subtracted 25 here, and they subtracted 25 here. That comes from lesson 1, I believe. Okay, and then they got y squared by itself. Take the square root, and we can plug that in our calculator now, and you'll get an answer of 6.2 for the side y. Okay, so that's just new. You just have to realize that it can be labeled anything, but you're still using the same basic formula we've used all along. Okay, here's something I want to teach new for this lesson. It's kind of a shortcut. So a squared plus b squared is c squared. I'm just going to flip that around and write c squared equals a squared plus b squared. You'd get the same answer. C would be exactly what it is up here. Now, if you're not given sides a and b, and let's say you have to find side b, you can make the formula look like this. Okay, if you have to find side a, you can make the formula look like this. That takes away from having to do this step right here, where you have to even, or you have to get all the numbers on one side and what you're trying to find on this side. Okay, because if we flip the formula around, we already have what we're searching for on the left side, and we don't have to even out our equations. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm just going to make up some numbers here. Let's say we're given a triangle. But let me draw one here. Okay, and let's say C is 4, sorry, this isn't drawn to scale, and A is 2, and we don't know what B is. Okay, so if we were to plug that into this formula here that we've been using, we would have A squared, which we don't know, or sorry, A we do know. We would have 2 squared plus B squared that we don't know equals 4 squared. Okay, so we'd have 4 plus B squared equals 16. And this is where we'd have to subtract this 4 and do that over here. Those cancel out. B squared equals 16 minus 4, which I guess I wouldn't have to rewrite that step, but which is 12. Okay, take the square root, and B equals whatever the square root of 12 is. I'm gonna plug that in my calculator, and it's 3.5. Okay, so what I'm saying is, instead of using this basic formula when we need side B, let's put the numbers in to this formula. Okay, so B squared we're trying to find. C squared is 4, or C is 4, so 4 squared. A is 2 squared. Okay, and now we have B squared equals 16 minus 4. So we've already made it to this step here. Okay, we've managed to, actually this next step, we've managed to eliminate a few steps here and keep everything a lot cleaner. So now we have the B squared equals 12. We take the square root, and B equals, again, pop it in your calculator and round to the first decimal place, 3.5. All right, let's do another one. Sorry, my triangles aren't to scale here. All right, so this time we have 4, we have A, and let's go, what, 12. Okay, so now we're trying to find side A. If we plugged it in, we'd have all these steps, and a little messy. So let's keep it neat. We're trying to find the A side. We've got the C across from the right angle. 12 squared minus 4 squared. And it's important that it's in this order because the larger number is in front here. Okay, carry on. Sorry, I need some more page here. 144 minus 16, which I should be able to do in my head, but I'm gonna use calculator. Okay, A squared is 128. Need to square root it because we want A. And we get 11.3. Yeah, rounded to the first decimal place. Okay, so you might need to refer back to this slide or get these formulas written down on your page. And it's just a really quick trick and a faster way to get to your answer, and a much cleaner, neater way. And then you don't have to worry about whether you're doing these steps correctly. Okay, so that's new for this lesson. Let's move on here. Okay, this is just saying identify the legs and hypotenuse. The reason for this slide is kind of what I was saying on the previous one. The triangles aren't necessarily going to be labeled A, B, and C. Okay, if it was based on our formula, the C would be across from the right angle and the C would be the hypotenuse. So you need to realize that your A squared plus B squared are the legs and your C squared is the hypotenuse. So in this case, in this triangle, your legs are the A and the C, and the hypotenuse across from the right angle is B. Okay, this triangle has letters. First thing I do is look across from the hypotenuse, or across from the right angle, find the hypotenuse, and that's X, and then my sides are Z and Y, or Y and Z. It could be either one. Again, find the hypotenuse, and my legs, J, L. Okay, so be very aware that it's not necessarily going to be labeled A, B, C, like we've been used to in the past. Okay, this question's asking what's the distance from A to B to the nearest mile? Obviously a states question because they're using miles. We would be kilometers, but that's what the question's asking. It's given us this side and this side. the lengths. So we're fortunate in this is our regular a squared plus b squared equals c squared formula. We'll take our numbers and plug them in. Okay, 210 squared, I get some bigger numbers here, is 44,100 plus 340 squared is 115,600 equals our c squared. That added together is 159,700. Take the square root. Hopefully this is just getting to be habit and pretty easy right now. Punch in the square root sign on your calculator and c equals 399.62. I'm just going to put 2 decimal places down here. If it doesn't tell you otherwise, round to the nearest decimal. Okay, if that were the case, that's not what it's asking, but I just want to show you something here. This one would be 399.6 because the 2 determines this number, right? And because it's under 5, it stays the same. This, however, says to the nearest mile. So this 6 is going to determine our next number over here. So 399.6 is actually going to round up to 400 miles. All right, so we used our formula. We know that from one corner of North Dakota to the other corner is 400 miles. All right, next question. A cat is stranded in a tree. You lean a ladder against the tree, 20-meter ladder. It's 4 meters from the base. Okay, there's a lot of steps here. So I want you to draw a picture. I haven't told you this yet, but I am a really good artist. So here's my tree. See what I'm saying here? Okay, here's a cat. It's a really big cat. Okay, I'm going to put him right there. And it says he's stranded. Yeah, he's stranded in my tree. You lean a 20-meter ladder against the tree. Okay, so there's my ladder. I know it's 20 meters. And it says it's 4 meters from the base of the tree. So I know this is 4 meters. I also know this is a right angle. Okay, so it's asking how far up the tree does the ladder reach. So it's our formula again, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. However, I look here and I've got my hypotenuse already. I've got my c squared. So I'm going to switch over to that formula I showed you earlier. Save me some steps and keep it cleaner. Sorry, a squared equals c squared minus b squared. I've decided that this is b. Okay, and then that one slide I said, you know, they could be labeled anything. So here we go. C squared 20 meters minus 4 squared. This is 400 minus 16. A squared equals 384. Square root. Square root. Side A is going to equal 19.59. I'm going to put 2 decimal places down here again just to remind you. It said to 1 decimal place. This is a 9, so this will change to round to 19.6 meters. And because it's a word problem, it warrants a sentence answer. So it says, how far up the tree does the ladder reach? The ladder reaches 19.6 meters up the tree. Okay, so that's basically all there is to this. This might be a good video to rewatch, and you'll see these kinds of questions in your assignment, and make sure that you write or draw a picture, write the formula, write a sentence in the word problems. Okay, good luck with your next assignment, and I'll see you in the next lesson.